Aziza woke up sweating in her small hut. She had a bad nightmare. In the dream, a scary creature called the Timeweaver was trapping her in never-ending time loops. He made her live through gross and horrible scenes over and over, like being surrounded by zombie monsters from an evil river. Aziza looked around her dim hut, relieved to be back home in the village of Agwumo, where she lived with her parents and brother Raj. It was just a bad dream, she told herself, taking deep breaths to calm down. The next day, Aziza tried to do her normal daily chores and routines like usual, but she couldn't stop thinking about that vivid nightmare. Why did it feel so real? And who was that Timeweaver creature? That evening, after finishing her chores, Aziza decided to get some water from the nearby river. Maybe the peaceful river sounds would help clear her troubled mind. As the sun was setting over the jungle trees, Aziza walked along the familiar dirt path to the riverbank. She loved this spot where she had played since being a little girl. The cool air smelled nice like damp earth and river water. Aziza dipped her clay jar into the slow-moving water to fill it. As she did, she noticed some faint shimmering, as if something was moving just beneath the surface. All of a sudden, a strange figure burst out of the river right in front of her. Aziza gasped and stumbled backwards in shock. It was a human-like creature, but its body was covered in shimmering green-blue scales like a fishtail. It had a striking masculine face with high cheekbones and glowing eyes. "Do not be afraid, Aziza," the mer creature said in a deep, calming voice. "I am the River Keeper, guardian spirit of these waters. I mean you no harm." Aziza's mouth hung open in amazement. The childhood stories of river spirits were real. The River Keeper looked at her intensely but kindly. "I can see you have had visions and dreams not meant for humans," he said seriously. "The Timeweaver's tricks have reached into your soul to try to shatter your destiny before it can awaken." Aziza shivered at hearing that terrible Timeweaver name. "You know about the Timeweaver. Please tell me what's happening. Why is he tormenting me with nightmares?" The River Keeper's scaled tail flicked slowly as he carefully chose his words. "You are a human child, blessed with the primal spirit of Ógúvì, the ancient river goddess of this land. Your dreams and visions are glimpses of your true cosmic origins struggling to return." He looked at Aziza with those glowing eyes. "I am thousands of years old, child, and I have seen the great forces battling for control over this realm. Your rebirth as the human form of the river goddess has reignited that ancient struggle between the creative forces of life and the opposing forces of decay and stillness controlled by the Timeweaver." Aziza felt overwhelmed by the creature's heavy words. So her wild dreams weren't just dreams. She was somehow at the center of an ancient cosmic conflict. The River Keeper continued his tale. "You see, when this world was created, Ógúvì, the river goddess, made the lush, life-giving jungle realm and all its creatures. Her nurturing, creative waters flowed freely across the virgin land, surrounding it with fertile energy and vibrant life force. Ancient visions shimmered in the river beside them, a dense jungle paradise full of vibrant plants and animals, with crystal-clear waters running through it. This became known as the Verdant Realm, an early time of divine creation and uncontrolled growth. Ógúvì's cosmic waters flowed pure and unspoiled for thousands of centuries. But then, the River Keeper looked very serious, and the pictures in the wavy stream changed to show bad things. At first, Ógúvì's endless creation was okay, but after some time, it started to mess up the balance of the whole universe. The opposite force of death rot, and limits, called the Timeweaver, woke up and ruined Ógúví's work, trying to keep things stable no matter what. Aziza saw gross images of dead nature and dead bodies rising from dirty, weedy rivers as the riverkeeper spoke. The Timeweaver turned Ógúví's pretty garden into a gross, smelly, dead realm. He sent out armies of undead monsters and plagues to stop Ógúví's wild growth in the green realm. What used to be paradise became the poisoned old Deathlands because of their never-ending opposite sides fighting. It was creation versus strict limits and rot. Aziza shuddered, feeling sick from the terrible scenes. So her nightmares about undead monsters from the cursed river were real after all. And this went on forever, the riverkeeper continued seriously. The unstoppable growing forces of life in Gusavi, opposed by the Timeweaver's relentless death, rot, and strict limits on change. A cycle with no end and no winner on either side. Aziza frowned, confused. But if they were perfect opposites, destined to eternally clash and cancel each other, then how did I get reborn as Ógúví's avatar and end up caught in between? The great fish creature looked very sad. Ah, that is where this epic struggle takes an unexpected turn, young goddess. You see, during a pivotal cycle between Ógúvì and the Timeweaver, your mortal self was meant to be reborn into this world as the full reincarnation of Ógúvì herself, destined to bring a new, evolved age for our realm. The riverkeeper looked ashamed. However, I failed in protecting you during a critical time, and the Timeweaver sneaked in and disrupted your rebirth just as you were being reborn across time-space. With one nasty trick, he shattered you, the living form of the Mother Goddess, across infinite parallel realities, splintering your spirit into countless fractured pieces. Aziza felt a strange hollow feeling in her chest, an ancient pain trying to come into her mind. The river spirit looked very serious. In that one horrific act, the Timeweaver doomed you to a fractured, never-ending cycle of false rebirth across different realities. Your true destiny as this world's life-giver and guide of growth was torn apart, with each of your splinters being born in many realities, only to be endlessly reabsorbed by the Timeweaver's decaying forces. The images in the river became dizzying and painful for Aziza, 1,000 versions of herself flashing in and out of existence, only to disappear or unmade in the next moment. She felt a throbbing in her head as more and more partial memories and gut punches of cosmic agony tried to surface from her subconscious. My deepest failure, the riverkeeper said heavily, was that I could do nothing to stop the shattering of your avatar across the dimensional planes. I could only helplessly watch cycle after cycle as the Timeweaver continually corrupted and absorbed the pieces of your destined rebirth, feeding his craving for stagnation and preventing the life renaissance you were meant to unleash. He looked pained. Hence your nightmares and visions of horrific time loops, child. You have been subconsciously sensing and reacting to the echoes of your cosmic struggle bleeding through from other realities where the Timeweaver still attacks your fractured spirit forms. Your dreams are fragmented glimpses of your true nature and origins, as well as terrifying futures where the destruction of your avatar ensures the Deathlands' rule rather than the Green Realm's rebirth. Aziza's head was spinning from the riverkeeper's heavy explanations. So she was the reincarnation of an ancient goddess? And this evil Timeweaver creature had shattered her soul into pieces across multiple realities to stop her from bringing new life. Why would he do something so terrible? Aziza asked, her voice small. The great fish creature's tail lashed around angrily. The Timeweaver's only purpose is to enforce cosmic order and stagnation through decay and limitation. Your destiny as the reborn river goddess was to spark a renaissance of unlimited growth and transformation across this realm. Such rapid, primal, evolutionary change represented an existential threat to the Timeweaver's monopoly on keeping the universal scales balanced toward decay. Aziza felt tears welling up. So he just decided to make me suffer eternal torment across endless realities, to stop me from bringing positive change. The River Keeper nodded solemnly. I'm afraid so, young goddess. The cycles of brutal subjugation you've endured in nightmarish dreamscapes are but tiny fragments compared to the ages of anguish the Timeweaver has put your greater, shattered self through. His depravity and lack of empathy for your cosmic spirit know no limits. Despair washed over Aziza. If this ancient, almost all-powerful force of cosmic decay had truly damned her to perpetual splintered agonies across countless realities, what hope did one mortal child have to overcome that? As if sensing her overwhelming feelings, the River Keeper placed a large, comforting hand on her shoulder. Do not surrender to darkness yet, Aziza. Your journey has only just reawakened. He looked at her with those intense, glowing eyes. The very fact that you are becoming consciously aware of your greater origins and destiny is a sliver of light in the Timeweaver's stranglehold over you. It means your mortal incarnation is beginning to resonate with and reintegrate the fragmented splinters of your cosmic spirit across realities. Aziza blinked up at him in surprise. You mean I can somehow still fulfill my destiny, even after being torn apart across infinite realms? The great fish creature nodded firmly. Indeed, child, though the road will be filled with more danger than you can possibly imagine. The Timeweaver's forces and deathly minions will use every deception and subjugation in their power to abort your awakening rebirth.